is absurd.
Um,
About your actions. You know how
I mean, it
actions
would be
speak
absurd
louder than words?
It would be absurd to live that way. I don't live
Is
that way.
that 100% true? Is that absolutely certain?
No. I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
so
not.
it would be, dude. See what you can't even make a claim. So your position has been reduced to absurdity. Do you know what the argument, the deductive style of argument called reductio ad absurdum is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's deductive. You know what deductive arguments do? They preserve truth. So therefore, if we've preserved the truth that you're in absurdity, what would be the contrary to your position? That we can know things?
What do you think that you can know for 100% certainty?
That God exists.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Amen.
I can know that the laws of logic are valid.
And they're universal, unchanging.
Or I mean, even just the premise that you can know things, right? ZZ Pop, like that, you know for 100% certainty.
That I can know things?
Yes.
No,
you
I'm
know
not.
that for
I'm not
100%
gonna.
certainty.
I'm not gonna take 100% certainty on anything. That's where
Well,
I'm sticking to.
that means that
Wait,
you
are
as a
you
person can't know
100%
anything.
certain? Wait, are you 100% certain that you're not going to take 100% certainty on anything?
No. I don't know that I won't later on change my mind on this.
Well,
So you
okay.
just negated
You
the
don't want to
last
be
thing you just said?
circular, though. So when you
No.
say you're not 100% certain on anything, you know that's a universal statement, right?
Right. You're gonna try to get me now on that I'm saying I'm
It's not
100%
about like a
certain.
get or anything, but you believe that in the way that you're thinking right now is you believe that you are 100% certain that you are not 100% certain on stuff. That's not me trying to get you anything. I'm just trying to show you that what you're saying self-refutes.
But I don't claim 100% that I'm gonna hold to this position.
Well, I'm not talking about the
That
future. I'm
absolutely,
talking
are you
about right
absolutely certain
now.
about that? Are you absolutely certain about what you just said?
No, I
I'm
guess
talking about right now,
my
though,
mind
right?
could be
Right
confused and
now,
playing some sort of trick on
you
me.
are 100% certain that you're not 100% certain on something. So right now, you're currently
I'm not going to say
self-refuting.
that, right? Because the brain is multifaceted and it's got subconscious aspects to it. And I may very well be saying one thing, but harboring contradictory thoughts to it at the same
Another
It's
time.
so
universal
wild how you
claim.
reduce someone down to the inability to even be able to make a claim about anything in all of reality and in all of existence and in all that is. You can't make a single claim about a single
just
thing
did.
anywhere.
He just
We
did
did.
make the claim.
Well, I am
Yeah,
being
you
honest.
just made another universal claim about brains.
Yeah, which could be wrong. Yeah.
So that's what I said at the beginning. Everything that you know to the extent you could be wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you know that you could be wrong about that, right?
And I could be wrong about that. And we could recursively.
Okay, so therefore you could be right.
Wrong about that, and I could be.
But therefore you could be right.
And so I could be right. Yeah.
You could be right that you're wrong.
That's true too.
Okay, do you see now that this position has been reduced to absurdity?
Yeah, I don't think I ever argued
Okay.
that.
Are you going to hold a position in your life that's absurd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will.
ZZ
Do you
Pop, I
expect
think
other-
with like a little bit of just like talking through some of these ideas, because like a lot of people have went through a lot of these, you could figure out like there's absolute truths in this world, and we can take them and we can use them to build our, internal wiring, and we can use that to find more absolute truths, things that are universally true.
So, just to be clear, I actually do believe things. Like, there are things that I believe to be true in a very deep sense about reality.
Is 2 + 2 equal to 4?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Well, you can deduce it using the axioms of math, but then we could get down to the question of how do you know the axioms of math to be true? And at that point, I would say I don't know how to prove the axioms of math, but I believe them to be true. I believe them to be a foundation worth.
So, like, you don't think you can know anything about anything, right?
Yeah, I think I am rejecting the idea of absolute certainty. Yeah,
Of anything.
yeah, yeah.
Are we having a conversation right now?
Of course, I think we are. Yes, of course, I would
How do you
say
know? How do you know we're
in
having a
all
conversation right now?
colloquial, vernacular, regular language, I would say yes, we're having a conversation. But I'm rejecting 100% certainty of anything. Sure. So
That's
then
so
I would
even like
say,
the rejection part is where like you got to be careful because like if you deny 100% certainty, then you're actually affirming that you're not 100% certain. Any type of rejection or denial is a simultaneous affirmation of the not A. So when you affirm A, you are rejecting not A. When you affirm not A, you are rejecting A.
So
It's
you're
a
making a truth
simultaneous
claim either
thing.
way.
Yeah, either way, when you make a claim about absolute certainty, you're still invoking absolute certainty. Actually, when you make any claim.
right. I'm thinking about that. Am I making a truth claim about not having 100% certainty when I say I don't have 100% certainty? Um, maybe.
That's why in like philosophy they came up with the I only know when I'm doubting kind of thing, or I only
Mhm.
know when I'm falsifying, because falsification is simultaneously affirming, like, there's only white swans. Oh, I found a black swan. So then we
Yeah.
know that it is not true that there's only white
Mhm.
swans. So then we use that to determine, we use falsehood or the falsity of an affirmation to know if that affirmation is not true. So then it is true that that affirmation is not the case.
And
No, no.
it's wild that people will sit here and they would never like go into any of this if they didn't know that it was being used as an argument for God. But as soon as they realize this thing is being used for an argument for God, they're like, I am not allowed to grant anything because even to let one single pebble along the path towards God be traversed would be unthinkable. So I must just act as if I'm an absurd retard who can't know anything about anything.
I gotta head out, but
Well, kind
I
of, right?
wouldn't,
I mean, because
tell
you
me what the
you
results and everything goes.
on the
Hey, Galen.
pro-religion side, you're making the argument that any claim of absolute certainty on something, anything, is going to logically lead us to a belief in God. And if
Okay.
I don't believe in God, then I guess therefore that means I'm also saying that I can't be 100% certain of anything. So,
Are the
right,
laws
there
of
you go.
logic true?
Are the laws of, I think so. Yeah.
So they are true.
um, as far as I can tell.
Okay. So since they're true, let's use that. Okay. So you have the law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, the law of the excluded middle. These comprise the laws of logic. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, are the laws of logic concrete entities or are they abstract?
I would say they're abstract.
Okay. So since they are abstract, they're conceptual, and since they're abstract concepts, right? We say then that they don't exist materially, right?
Yeah.
So they exist, therefore, in the mind.
Yeah, and therefore God at some
No, no,
point.
no, we're not yet, not yet.
All
So
right.
they exist in the mind. Okay, now we've established that they're true. They would be universally true. It means they'd be true everywhere for all people. It's not like an opinion renders the laws of logic invalid. The laws of
Mhm,
logic are invalid inconsequentially of your opinion.
mhm.
Okay, so they're
Sure.
universally applicable. They're universally valid, and they exist in the mind.
Mhm.
Okay. Since they are universally applicable and universally valid, this would be fundamentally objective. You would say that the laws of logic are objective, not subjective, which would be opinion based.
Yes.
So, okay. So we have universal, universally applicable, universally valid, objective laws of logic that exist in the mind. Now, here's the question. Can well, hold on. Human minds, one other thing, your mind, as you were saying, you think these things, but you're not certain. I say I think things, but I'm not certain. Our minds are subjective. That's
Mhm.
clear. Okay. So we have subjective human minds. However, we have laws of logic that are universally valid, they're universally true, and they're objective, yet they exist within the mind. Is it possible for objective universal laws to be grounded in a subjective mind?
What do you mean by grounded?
Where do they derive their basis?
Okay, so stepping away from my point on, let's call it existential humility, which was amusing and annoying people of my whole, we can't know anything for 100% certainty. Let me just step back into the actual things I believe in a practical sense. Yes, I believe that the universe is non-arbitrary, that there are I guess we could call it objectively real structures and patterns to the universe, and that we as beings within the universe are attuned to this. And the fact that we, in our minds, think things like mathematical principles and logical principles is not something we've randomly made up. It's something we have inferred, maybe at a subconscious level, from the structures in the universe around us, from the order that upholds the universe, that the universe is not just a soup of meaningless chaos. So I would say I think theists straw man an atheistic position is if you're an atheist, it must mean that you believe that the universe is a soup of meaningless chaos. And I definitely don't hold that position. I definitely do think that there is that there are foundational guiding principles, that there are structures to the universe that are real, and that our ability to talk about things in terms of logic and math and stuff like that is some sort of reflection of that.
Okay, in
Okay.
order to have meaning, you have to have a meaning giver.
Hold on, Tora. Wait, that's a red herring, Tora. Hold on. So ZZ Pop.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you identify that, but I need to know: can the objective laws of logic be grounded in a subjective mind?
I guess I would say no, because I think what you mean by grounded in a subjective mind would mean that we subjectively made them up, that they would be subject to our opinions, and I don't think that.
Right, they're independent of us, right?
I think that if we met aliens out there in the universe, we would discover that they also came to the same principles of math and logic, that this is not something that we
okay.
randomly made up, that it's something
Okay.
we picked up on from the
So-
universe.
So this is important because if the laws of logic, which are universally applicable, valid, and objective, cannot be grounded in a subjective mind, then they must necessarily, since they are conceptual, since they are abstract, they do exist within the mind alone, they must necessarily be grounded within a mind that is not subjective and is instead objective.
Wait, I'm not, but I didn't say that I think that they exist within the mind alone. Like, what I'm saying is that
Well, they're not concrete. It's a binary option. Either they're concrete and they're entities which exist concretely within the universe, or they're non-concrete and they're abstract, which means they exist within the mind.
No, I don't think I see it that way, because like, okay, the ideal triangle does not exist as a physical object that we could like grab onto in material reality. Nowhere in material reality is there like the platonic ideal of the perfect triangle. So you could say that the concept of the perfect triangle is something that only exists in our mind, but like I'd say it's an inference, it's an extrapolation from things we see in reality. We see triangular things in reality, and we have the ability of kind of purifying, okay, so what would the perfect version of a triangle be? What would the perfect version of a circle be? And then you could get into a whole thing of like, okay, but which is more real, which is more fundamental, the kind of imperfect version of these shapes that we see in physical material reality, or the perfect version of them that exist within our mind. But whichever one you might think is more fundamental, like those two, like that doesn't seem like an either or binary to me. So what I'm saying,
we're not talking about triangles. We're talking about things that are purely abstract. There's no law of logic that you can, like, what's it made of? What's its weight? What's its length? What's its height? None of that exists.
Right, but like our minds didn't develop in a pure vacuum. It's like, we are living in material reality,
I,
and
I agree.
it might not be immediately clear like where are the laws of logic in material reality. But what I'm saying is I think that the laws of logic, these abstractions that we talk about that exist in our mind, is a articulation of something that we absorbed from our material reality. So like no, I can't go and put my hands on the laws of logic in the way I can pick up my TV remote, but within everything I'm absorbing about being a being who lives in physical material reality and has to navigate physical material reality, I picked up on that there are some patterns here in the world around me that can be articulated in what we
You
call
don't
the
even,
laws of logic.
but you don't even need to be taught the laws of logic, nor do you need to even have any sort of education to know that you're not both dead and alive. It's not both hot and cold. You're not both hungry and full. Like all you can give in an
Well,
infinite
yeah, no,
number of cases. Like these things are intrinsically true, yet these laws describing them are abstract, but they're also universally valid. The basis for grounding these abstract things, because abstract things exist within the mind, but it since the grounding is not an opinion and it's not private, it's universal. You can't point to any specific human mind because I could ground an opinion in my thoughts, right? My opinion is grounded in my thoughts. Such is not the case with the laws of logic. They transcend in any mere individual. They are truth. They're true universally in all individuals and in all minds, and even apart from minds.
well,
So the grounding must be something that is capable of holding abstract concepts, which would be a mind, but it must also necessarily be objective because the laws themselves are objective and could not come from something subjective. Therefore, that mind that is those things are grounded in, that is what we identify to you as God.
I I think that what you said helps what I was saying because yeah, you don't need to be educated to understand the laws of logic. Like lots of different independent people in independent cultures like deduce the same things, came to the same ideas. So yeah, like it is universal in that way, but we're all living within the same physical reality. We've never gotten to test whether or not a mind that existed in just like pure non-material vacuum would also come up with the same laws of logic that we've come up with. There is a common thing here, which is that every human being who has ever independently come up with these ideas that we call the laws of logic was born within the same three-dimensional material reality that we're all living in. So I don't know how we could separate ourselves and the ideas we come up with from the question of what patterns about physical reality are we all observing and then articulating, when we describe things in logical language. But I'm not disagreeing with the idea that there are abstract universal principles that govern our universe. Um, I I don't know. The final step there of saying, and therefore it must originally come from a mind of God. Um,
Yeah,
okay, if
yeah,
you
well,
wanted to say that we're going to call the structure of reality God, that our reality is structured, it has universal principles, and you want to call it God, okay. But I
Do
don't
you
feel like
find
that's
it to
No, no,
be
no, no, no. The
unreasonable?
reality doesn't
Is that
structure
what?
itself, bro. Like the reality is not
right.
self-subsistent.
That
It's
no,
not
no, that's no.
self-grounded.
Right, no, so that's actually the contentious point there, right? Is does reality structure itself or does it need a creator
Well,
besides
even
for
if
itself?
even if you were to argue for structuring like some random process, it cannot be grounded in itself. It's an entirely different thing.
yeah, but that's a different subject. I mean, as
That
Christians, we
so
don't think that is abstract.
So
yeah,
ZZ Pop, my question would be: do you feel it's unreasonable to believe in God?
no, I don't think it's unreasonable to
Okay,
believe
then
in.
what's the reason that you don't believe in God? If it's not
Um,
unreasonable.
what's the reason that I don't believe in God? I mean, again, this is so so I do take the affirmative position that there is abstract structure grounding reality, and I take that position perhaps more confidently than a lot of other secularists, would want to put it into those words. And I'm not even completely uncomfortable with people calling it God, as that gets to some of the ideas of what God could be. But where I get discomfortable is what I see as the kind of human projection onto it. Like, I don't see why the fundamental base layer of reality should be thought of as a mind, should be thought of as a creator, should be thought of as a creative
Can you
being.
define mind real quick so we understand what you mean? You're saying a knower?
Yeah, is it like the theistic position to me seems to be that sort of God is this thing that is in some way distinct from our physical reality, a consciousness that came up with or created or designed the structure of our physical reality, that there is the artist and the art, right? That there is
Uh-huh.
a distinction between the creator and the creation. And
Yeah.
that's where I don't go. Like where I feel that feels unnecessary, and to me, in sort of my thinking about the cosmos, that I understand why people have a discomfort with the idea of saying that, like, our physical reality just is structured, and like that's the primitive fundamental thing, and there wasn't a creator, there just is
I think
creation inherently imbued with
I,
structure.
I think you
But
don't realize that you're like maybe unintentionally committing a word concept fallacy right now. You're talking about the cosmos and the universe, and you're like applying these principles and properties to it that one would normally apply to God, but you're just using a different word. You're just calling God the cosmos, right? But you don't believe that, the cosmos is a conscious being, do you?
Well, that's an entirely different question. I mean, I actually am very interested in a lot of sort of panpsychist views that consciousness is such a broad phenomenon that it's not just within biological beings, that there's some other notion of consciousness that might just be inherent to matter interacting, exchanging energy,
Matter
stuff
and
like
energy
that.
in space.
Well,
The whole combination of all the matter, energy, and space in the universe. You think that thing, that sum total, is a conscious being? Is like
Uh,
one entity
yeah, maybe.
that so you're ascribing godlike qualities to the physical universe and then saying you don't believe
aren't
in
you
God.
aren't you
Uh,
ascribing universe qualities to a godlike being? Doesn't that argument just work both ways?
No.
Yeah.
There's there's a lot of things that are traditionally considered godlike qualities that I would be, yeah, open to ascribing to the universe. So there's something very specific, which is the part that I don't find necessary or don't find a reason to believe, which is this particular separation of creator and creation, the writer and the story, or whatever it is. The idea of there being an entity separate from, prior to, the universe that exists, that was the thing that created the universe. That delineation there is the very specific thing about the traditional view of God that I don't believe in, and I don't believe in for like a super strong, like, oh, I can prove it's false. But
Yeah,
I
so
just
there's like a thing that created it. You're like, I'm not gonna say that the effect has a cause, but I'm fine with attributing the effect itself to being grounded in itself.
yeah, that it just is this fundamental brute fact of a universe exists with all of these incredible properties to it. Yeah.
So, uh, okay, so you're just conflating an observation with an ontology now. Like the universe is, and that's all I need to know. I don't need to worry about like ontologically what its grounding or origin is. I'm just observing that, basically I think therefore I am with no grounding. And then
Well,
we
I'm entirely interested in exploring its origin. I just feel like saying that we should that the concept of a creator God, of a creator that is distinct and delineated from the universe, that created the universe, is wildly getting ahead of ourselves. That at this point in time, with as much as we know about the universe and as much as we've pondered into abstract concepts, that seems like a leap to me.
So we're saying that the universe is a product of a creative act of God, right? God has a
Yes.
mind, and the order that's in the universe is reflective
Right, and it
of the
comes from that,
order
yeah.
within God's mind. But
I
your
describe
position
my-
would be that all this order came about not from any place of substantive origin, right? But it doesn't have an
describe
origin, yet it is.
Well, we just don't know.
Okay, but not knowing doesn't mean it's like not deducible that it must therefore be from somewhere.
can deduce that.
I don't.
What order?
At a certain point, if the chain of sort of cause and effect has some terminus somewhere, right? Like then the atheist says, well, who created God, right? So
It's, you kind Christians don't believe in that deduction kind of thing. As Christians, we're just believers because our teachings, our scriptures tell us to believe, not to ascribe physicality to God. Right? Anyone that says that they're a Christian that is trying to ascribe some sort of a physicality to God, you are not doing what you were told, right? The whole consciousness idea and the whole mind thing, the whole humanistic thing that you're doing and ascribing to God is not what we were told to do. What we were told to do as Christians is simply believe, just accept that there is a creator. We were never told to bring people physically to where God is. We were never told to do that. We were told to tell people to just believe. So you're not you cannot convince an atheist, right? Using physical and humanistic terms and logics and deductions. You cannot convince an atheist in that way. You have to tell an atheist that there are values and that you must just believe. And if they don't choose, that is their doing. You trying to put physicality on God, you are actually doing the wrong thing.
None of us
God
are
never
putting
told you to do
physicality
that.
on God, dude. Like, who are you talking to? You need to chill.
I'm talking to you. You're a joke. Because I'm talking
Well,
to
you
you.
don't even know what my position is. You're arguing
I know
against a
what your
ghost right
position.
now. Well,
I
you
know what your
didn't
position
just
is.
describe my position.
Yeah, I just did. You told him.
I'm telling you didn't, and you're going to argue with me. Stop being a faggot.
Yes,
Shut up.
because you don't want to accept
Shut up.
accountability.
You're behaving like a
You,
gay
you,
male. Shut up.
well,
Shut up.
brother,
This is what gay people do. Shut up. You're arguing like a
don't
faggot.
project.
Shut up.
Don't
That's not my
project.
position. I told you it's
Don't
not.
project.
Shut up.
Don't project. Don't project gay on others. Nobody
Dude,
brought up
I
gay.
just
You're
told you that's not
projecting
my
gay.
position. You're trying to argue and tell me that is my
Why
position when
did
it's
you
clearly not
use
my
the word
position.
gay? Why did you use the word gay? You're projecting. Don't use it. Gay. No one
Because
talked
what
about
you're
gay.
doing is effeminate.
You are projecting. Stop that. Be a man.
Yeah,
I-
if
I-
you were a
I-
man,
again,
you would not be arguing against something that's not my position. I clearly told you that's
Of
not
course,
my position. You're just telling me what my own. So you're both telling me what my position is and then arguing against yourself.
No. You know what your position is.
No, my
You're
position
trying
is
to
not that
show.
God is physical. When did I ever say that? Go quote me.
Yes,
Timestamp me and I'll give you
you,
$1,000 if you can tell me where I
yes,
said
you
God
are.
is physical. I
You
got a
are
grand in my bank
accountable.
account for you right now. Take the bet
Okay.
and then I'll take your money.
Yeah, brother. Whatever. You are trying to somehow,
Oh,
in
exactly.
a
So shut
trick,
up then. You're just coming in here
way,
spreading lies.
trying to tell the man that God is some sort of a physical thing that you can
I never
conceptualize in your head.
said God
That's what
was
you did.
physical.
That's what you're doing, though.
No, it's
Because
not.
that's
God
what
is
you're doing.
specifically not physical. He's a spirit. He is spirit,
Okay,
just like
we
it says in
understand. Okay,
scripture.
okay. So how do you show this man the spirit? Go ahead.
That's not the point of this conversation. Like,
That
you're literally
is the
moving
point
the
of this.
goalpost. That's not, dude. Stop interjecting
That
our
is
conversation.
how
Stop
else
being
you
a
want to.
faggot. No one wants to talk to you.
Why are
We
you
were having
bringing
a
up gay,
conversation.
man?
You're derailing it.
What?
Leave
Why
my
are you
conversation
gay?
alone.
Why
Don't
are
talk to
you
me
gay?
and go away,
Why are you bringing up gay, man? You need to stop that.
dude.
You stop
Dude, do you
projecting.
like stalk people in real life like this? Like, when people tell you to leave them alone, do you just like follow them around and say, "Talk to me, talk to me"? Shut
Yes,
up and
when they're
go
talking
away.
foolishness, when they're
Shut up
talking
and
foolishness
go away,
and
you
trying
ignorant faggot.
and not taking accountability for their words, I follow them around. You need to take accountability for your words.
Oh my gosh, dude! I would punch you in the mouth and send you to the hospital if you
I,
followed me like this in
I
real
would do the
life.
same thing to
I
you. I
think
would do the same thing.
Jesus
I
taught not to
I'd
do
punch you
that.
back. I would punch you back. Simple as that.
No, dude, if you followed me around and wouldn't get away from me, I would actually kill you. And through the I would literally
Okay, and I
shoot
would
you.
kill you back. And I would kill you
Hi,
back.
buddy. Look, bro,
I would kill you
you
back.
are literally
No problem.
like
You know, you
trying to psychotically interject yourself into
you
my conversation,
yes,
acting as if
yes.
in real life you
You're not
would
having a conversation.
accost me,
You're not having a
violently and
conversation.
aggressively follow me
You're not
around.
even listening. You're not even listening
Because
to
I don't want to talk to you. What is
you're
like?
not even
Are you
listening. I'm not
stupid,
you're not listening to the guy. You're
dude?
talking and you're not listening.
Stop
Everybody
talking
everybody
to
here
me.
everybody here understands what he's
Look, dude,
saying.
I
That
literally, the
he
only reason
himself
I'm not muting
he
you is because it's
himself
against the
has
rules of the server
ascribed.
to mute people because it
He
creates chaos.
yeah.
I'm
Well, you
asking
mute yourself.
you to stop
I'm
talking
asking
to
you to
me,
mute yourself. Mute yourself. The
dude.
thing is this:
Where's Ahmad?
what he's doing
Where's Ahmad,
is
dude?
he's trying to
Yo, what's
say
up?
that
What's
the
up, man? What's
cosmos.
going on here? Hold on, Robert. What's up, Piezo?
Tell this guy to stop talking to me. He's literally hijacking my
I had
conversation and won't
earlier.
leave me alone.
Jeremy, tell him to
I know
stop
I
talking.
had this problem earlier. This guy was like conversation raping me. I know.
Yeah,
I can't.
he's disrupting. He's disruptor, Jeremy. Tell him to shut up.
Nah, the guy he was talking to left now. You know what I'm saying? You came in all crazy on him. Maybe I don't know what happened,
No,
but
not crazy. I didn't call him crazy.
Dude,
I didn't. I simply
you're
came in to
literally in here
explain.
lying about me,
No
accusing me
one.
falsely of things I never said. I tell you to leave me alone, and you just continue to just not shut up and want to try to talk with me. I don't want to talk with
No,
you.
people are not
let's
following your
just move.
conversation
Let's
because
just carry this. Hold on, man. Let's just move along. Then we can just go to the next thing.
good. That's a good idea, brother.
I know it's a good idea. You know, I know it's a good idea because I came up with the idea.
Maybe we could not have slurs and threatening people also.
Yeah, like I don't know what just happened. I was typing and shit, but let's all relax,
Dude.
please.
It's always going to be like that if this dude's here. He like unnecessarily forces himself on people. I told him like you would never come near me in like this in real life. You don't just in real life you don't approach people and like talk to me right now. Talk to me, dang it. Like if someone says get away from me, dude, and you approach them legally under the law, they would be able to defend themselves against you for acting like a psychopath.
I didn't threaten you.
You're going to get punched in the mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're going to
yeah.
get punched in the mouth. Right, exactly.
Obnoxious, Pinky. You are obnoxious.
You're obnoxious.
I do like TikTok
Give me
though.
up, relax.
I like TikTok when
Body
he
slam.
participates in the Christian chats.
Jeremy, what's Robert's Glober ranking?
Oh God!
Like it's so crazy. People come in here and sorry, go ahead.
He more shit. He gets more shit wrong than left lane. Like he's way down. Like he gets everything wrong. It's crazy.
He does get quite a few things wrong.
Even the
Sometimes he
Globers
gets things
don't-
right.
Globers never even agree with him. Like it's so crazy.
There's no such thing as a Glober, so that's why they disagree with me. I don't know who.
Well,
are
I
Glober.
disagreed with you on that.
A lot of people think that
It's like
Robert's
people think
actually
like, oh, this
flat
guy's a
earther.
Christian. He's not
How much
allowed to
stuff he
like.
gets
He
wrong.
has to be like take a soft position and like act like he's not allowed to respond to people who are coming at him crazy and virulently and violently. Like, dude, can you just not be a freak? Someone doesn't want to talk to you and you like keep pressing it. It's actually like really weird.
Jesus do.
There's no such thing as a Glober, and that's why they disagree. Anybody that thinks themselves as a Glober, that they're going to disagree with me.
Yes, I'm a Glober and I disagree with you.
Okay, there you go.
Dang,
Because
I feel like I just got
Double
dunked on.
disagree.
Did he just get
Because-
dunked? I think I just got
I'm just-
dunked on, Jeremy. I walked into his trap.
I'm a science guy, and then there's flat earthers. So I'm a
Oh
science
my
guy
God.
versus flat earthers. Flat Earth is not science. flat Earth is belief.
Dude, can you just like, I don't like, who wants to talk to you, bro? Like, I don't understand. Why are you still here? Like, you already derailed our conversation. We were having a really good conversation with that guy. He was actually like talking intellectual honesty, like trying to make
Yeah, that guy's
progress.
not
you
bad.
weren't.
He's,
You
that
weren't.
ZZ
You
Pop guy's
weren't.
not bad.
Dude,
You
stop
I
weren't.
should have
talking
just
at me.
muted Robert off the gate, man. My bad. That's my bad.
Jesus, you weren't being honest. That's the point I was trying to point to you.
Oh my
He was
gosh.
being.
Yeah. You're going to just go in a circle now where you tell me what I was saying after I've 3 times corrected you and told you that's not my point. I explicitly refute that point. I actually proclaim the opposite of that point, and then you're going to tell me what my point is and then argue against the
No,
thing you made up. Yeah, dude.
absolutely not.
I am sure that you're just like the most educated, intelligent person in your entire circle, right?
I am.
Everyone is
actually.
probably in awe of you for your like grand genius, aren't they?
Yes, I am one of the most.
Oh, anyone in
powerful
this, anyone
people
in
at
these
this time.
arenas, anyone in this, any person, any room they go into, they're the smartest dude in the room, probably,
Absolutely.
except for Robert.
Look, dude, people can sit here and disagree with me about any topic anytime they want. But one thing that I just don't tolerate is people sitting here and lying to my face or to other people's faces about me. And then, like, when I call them out on it, them continuing to act as if it's like not the case.
Well, so I actually kind of agree with his assessment of your argument, actually, is that if God is this spiritual thing, then why are we grounding out his existence in our world with like rules of logics and physical things?
His existence is implied by the physical things we're pointing to and the laws of logic, which are abstract. It's not that he himself is physical. It's that the fact that we have these physical things which follow this abstract order, which cannot be grounded subjectively but must be grounded objectively, necessarily implies the existence of this objective thing. That's it. That is outside of and independent from the things that it grounds. So it's just a deductive argument.
Okay, I think that's what he was trying to get at. Is that I mean, that's fair. I think that's what he was trying to get at.
But did you see how I never claimed that God was physical or had a body?
Piezo, you're saying God is physical and has a body.
No, I'm not saying that, Jeremy. And then Jeremy's like, oh, yeah, but you definitely did say that, you liar. You're lying to everyone here. You're so dishonest. Hey, I bet you $1,000 you can't go back in this recorded chat and show me where I said that. Why don't you go ahead and do it? I'll take your money. Oh, I don't need your money, but you're a liar. Like, dude, why are you here? Like, seriously, why, a person that's like that, what are you doing here? You have no business here.
I mean, is this your first time meeting a Jamaican guy, or?
Oh my
He
gosh.
bounced. He bounced. We're good. We're good. Whew. That's intense.
No, but seriously, bro, like, no one ever acts that psychotic in real life. People who act that psychotic in real life, like, end up getting hurt because people see them as, like, an actual threat because they are. Like, if someone came up to you in person in, like, a Walmart, was talking to you like that, like, come here, talk to me. And you're like, get away from me, dude. They're like, no, I'm holding you accountable for your words. Talk to me right now. Like, what would you do?
Yeah, server mute him in real
What?
life.
No,
You gotta server
right,
mute him in
exactly.
real
That's my
life.
point,
I
dude.
remember
It's
growing
like,
up. I remember growing up Mormon. We'd go to like these Mormon events, and there'd be people that stand out on the street corner, like when you show up, and they have like signs, handing out pamphlets, and then like just yelling at people as they walk by. Yeah, those people were kind of obnoxious.
The Mormons.
Like Widget?
Yeah, Mormons are obnoxious, but there were people that were like anti-Mormon standing on the corner, and they just yell. Like Mormons would like maybe want to just go to an event, and then they'd get yelled at by these Christians that were like saying your religion sucks and handing out pamphlets and stuff. It's very antisocial.
bro,
I
that's
agree.
like the
I agree with
freedom of-
Piezo. Yeah, it's freedom of speech, but it's
though,
obnoxious, right?
Well,
I'm agreeing with
there's a
Piezo.
difference. There's a difference between if Piezo is walking down the street and Robert's just standing on the corner, and Piezo's like, oh, I don't want to hear this guy, and he just fucking walks away. That's like fine. But if Robert keeps following him down the block, like,
correct.
you have to listen to me.
Right.
Yeah, but like, okay, we're in a room right now, so Piezo didn't have to stay and listen to Robert. He could have left.
Yeah, but the difference would be is like if I was in, like I'm at like a party, like someone has like a house party, right? And I'm sitting on the couch for like half an hour just chilling, talking to the dude sitting on the couch with me, and we're having a great conversation. And then he comes and sits next to me on the other side of the couch and is like, I'm holding you accountable. Talk to me. And
When
then I'm
I
like,
see
leave me alone, bro. Like what's wrong with you? Like,
Just get up
a
and I would get
party,
up and leave the room. That's
so
what I would do.
and yeah, then he
when
would be
I'm at a
following
party
you.
though, it's just me and chicks on the couch. So I don't know what you'd be doing at parties.
Okay. I'm just making up a scenario, but you got me, right? Like I'm married, I don't care.
Yeah.
But but the point is like, that would never, like, no one would do that. Like if you did get up and leave the room and you're like, leave me alone, bro, like the guy that you freaked out the dude on the other side of me that I was talking to, or the chick I was talking to, right? Like she left because she was made so uncomfortable by you being here, and then I leave, and he continues to follow me into every other room and won't get out of my face. Like that's the equivalent of what he's doing in these discords.
Were you like in a different room before you came here, and he was there, and then you came here and he followed you?
The only thing more rude than doing that would be for you to throw a punch.
Maybe you don't have like any self-preservation instinct, but like, someone getting up in my face and following me around, I'm going to assume that person like has some kind of like crazy like intentions.
I'm just saying, if somebody says they want to stop
Maybe.
Feels like a
engaging with you,
fallacy. That feels like
You
a
can call it
fallacy.
whatever you want, dude. I'm going to defend myself if some kind of crazy freak is trying to get really close to me and won't get away from me. I mean, that's actually within the bounds of the law as well, just so you know. You don't have to someone doesn't have to physically touch you for you to enact violence against them. Someone who comes and approaches you in a public place and accosts you, and you're like, get away from me, stay away from me, don't come closer. Like, don't come within an arm's length of me, and they just continue running at you and trying to get to you. Like, you don't have to wait for them to touch you, bro. You can assume that they
Self-defense
have
laws are
armed.
I
different
love
in
the way
different
you've
states.
imagined
Like a
that
lot
you've
of
transported this into real life. It's very interesting.
Well, yeah, the reason is because
Yeah.
I'm saying that these people only act like this on the internet because like they have enough common sense to know that they couldn't do this in real life, but on the internet they think that they can act like freaks.
People do this in real life all the time. I just gave you one example where people show up where they're not wanted and then just shout and quote hold people accountable, and like, yeah, it is what it is. It's just weird. I've never thought that the correct solution there is just to punch the person because I'm not threatened by
Dude,
words.
you're
I can just
given
walk away.
a thing about people showing up with like picket signs and like protesting. That's not the same thing at all.
Sure, it is. They show up and they
Well, I mean,
they talk to
if he was,
people. You
like,
walk by
following
and
you
they
from
get in your
Discord
face
room
and
to
talk to
Discord
you.
room,
And
yeah, but the difference is we're in a room here
that'd
though.
be
Like
more.
there's nowhere to walk to
Yeah,
unless
like
he leaves the room. Like we're gonna let him chase. If somebody says they don't want to engage with someone and they keep trying to engage them or some shit, like that's just
it's extremely weird. Like Robert
What I'm
has
saying is,
very low impulse control.
if we were to
oh, that's the
transfer this
boy.
back into like a real world, and there's like a dude talking in your living room and he won't leave and won't stop talking, it's still, even if he's in your house, it's still probably not your first thing is to like throw a punch. Like you would get the moderator, you would get a cop to come have him removed.
what? You think if someone came into my house, I would call a cop to get them out?
No. I'm
What do you
saying
think? He's
is
fucking
if you had a
Canadian?
party and you invited someone in and they, I'm not saying that that's maybe wouldn't be the expectation, but that'd be like the right thing to do.
Did
Like
you
that'd be
just
the
call Piezo
correct
Canadian?
behavior. No, I would never dare call anyone Canadian. Okay. I'm just saying, like, what we would expect is not for you to start throwing haymakers. It's for you to like call the moderator and just like have them removed, right?
Call the moderator,
The
have them
cop in this
removed
case.
from my house?
Yeah, which was
No,
what happened, which is a good resolution, I think.
Does our house
I
moderators
think if
now,
you
bro?
ask yourself what would Jesus do, there's about 50 things before punching him in the face and calling him a faggot. Just my thought. I don't
That's
know.
a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, actually, in the situation where someone's coming in my house, and accosting me, not wanting me to leave, or not wanting to leave or leave me alone, I think punching them in the face and calling them a faggot would be totally appropriate.
I think Jesus
Well, I
would
mean, in this
disagree with
scenario, you
you,
invite
but
them
whatever.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
actually,
it's
to make it
it's
more
completely misconstrued. Yeah, it's complete misconstruing of Christianity to think that Jesus taught absolute pacifism. By the way,
That's not what I said.
Did he ever
I
snuff
think
someone?
now you're misrepresenting my position.
Hold on, did Jesus ever snuff someone?
did he ever what?
Well, depending on how
Did he
you
ever
look, he
punch
did.
someone in the face?
No, he never
He
punched
whipped
anybody
some
in the face
people
that we
once.
know of.
in the future. He will.
He will punch someone in the
he's
face
going
in
to
the future?
literally kill everybody on Earth at one
Going
point. But
back
it's
to
not,
That is
Armageddon, right?
violent.
you know.
That's way
But
violent than a punch in the face.
I mean, there's a particular passage where he talks about like if you do not have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one.
There's like two verses or whatever where he talks about, that sort of like more violent wording, but there's, for every two of those, there's 30 where he says pretty much the opposite.
But
What's he want you to have?
none of them are in like disagreement with one another. So
What's he want you to have a sword for if he's not like?
right, his
Yeah,
disciples
they're
were
not
going
turning
out
the
and
other cheek.
traveling, and he was telling them to he was telling them to have a sword and stuff. Had to have a sword and stuff. But
Yeah, it's weird because when Peter cut the guy's ear off, he didn't seem too excited about him doing that.
yeah, because Peter was trying to stop what had to happen.
Yeah, but the guy, I mean, he could have cut both the guys, killing that one dude wasn't going to stop it from happening. Plus, God could just make it happen some other way.
Cutting an ear off is just that's like weirdly violent.
Well, he was
very
swinging at his head,
precision,
and the dude probably
very
moved, and
precision.
it got his ear. But Peter wasn't
Oh, he
trying to
hit
cut
his ear on accident.
Yeah, dude, he wasn't going for his ear, bro. He was
I thought
going
he
for
was
his
just like
head.
holding him down, cutting his ear off with a razor blade or some shit.
No.
Like,
He swung his sword at him, and the dude moved and got his ear.
he didn't clip him in the shoulder or something. I feel like that's like a death blow right there. Like if I have swing a sword at you and cut your ear off with it, the only next thing is it's going in your shoulder, like your neck or something.
Maybe it was an upstroke. But yeah, I don't
maybe it was
remember
a
the
snap,
Bible
bro. Who
verse.
knows?
I don't have like the whole thing memorized, but I don't remember the Bible verse that says when a man smites you on the cheek, you call him a faggot and punch him in his face.
That was Revelations chapter 3, verse 14.
Yeah, dude. What? Just real quick, what do you think's so bad about the word faggot? Like, besides that, the naughty people told you, like, the naughty police told you you're not allowed to say it. Like, what do you think that has to do with the Bible?
Same as the N-word. Do you have a problem with the N-word?
No, it's not.
I know you don't.
I mean, we grew up in the 80s and like we didn't use the N-word, but we called a lot of people faggots.
Yeah, faggot is totally different than the N-word. Completely different.
Right, and when your parents were growing up in school, they used the N-word, right? We moved forward.
The N-word is a word. The N-word is a word that literally devalues like somebody else on the basis of their race, right? Faggot.
Let me ask you this.
Faggot is something that points to people's behavior.
Do you think Jesus would call somebody that name? If Jesus was standing right in front of you, would you call somebody that?
Well,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
If you would let me answer, I'd actually be able to tell you the thing you're looking for, but I don't think that's your interest here. I think you're just wanting to argue. So
I'm all ears.
I don't think you should. I don't think you should be afraid of words.
Calling
by
a
the way.
faggot a faggot, I don't think. Like if a person was gay and I said, "Man, look at that faggot over there," that would just be an objective statement. Just like if someone was an adulteress and I'd be like, "Look at that adulteress over there." Are you going to say it's bad to say adulteress? Is adulteress a naughty word? Of course not.
I just googled it. Jesus used to call people names, bro. These are wild.
He called people whitewashed tombs. He called them snakes. He called them a lot of different things.
Fools. He called people fools, vipers, all types of stuff. Yeah, I just googled
snakes. Yeah, vipers. Yeah.
Like words to describe hypocrisy. Yeah, he did that all the time.
Right. So it's a word that describes behavior. That's what faggot is.
It's okay. So you do think Jesus would use that word if he was here today?
He called people sons of hell.
Right.
Do you know what a faggot is, guys, by chance?
It's a colloquial word for somebody who is gay.
A bunch of sticks. It's a bunch of sticks.
I would feel
That's
way
right.
more offended if somebody said I was a son of hell than a faggot. Like, I'd be way more offended at the son of hell one.
Yeah, it's also
I
colloquially
wrote that. I
used
just
for
wrote that in
people
my
who
notebook,
behave
Jeremy.
in
I'm
that
going to use
way.
it
Like
against you.
sometimes you use it for people who might not literally be gay, but who behave with gay tendencies.
Well, being homosexual.
This all sounds like This all sounds like rationalization. Like we can all agree that if Jesus was here, Jesus would. There's insults and words he wouldn't use.
I don't think you know that at
not
all.
what
Why
he's
do
like.
you think it's an insult? Okay, why do you think it's an insult to call
Why
someone
did
a
you
whore?
use it? Why did you use it?
Because he was being a faggot.
No, that's definitely an insult.
Yeah, it's like this is the worst gaslighting ever. I do have to run. Thank you so much for the gaslighting. It was great.
I mean,
Don't
it's
be
like,
afraid of words,
why would I
Pinky.
call a woman
I'm
a
not
whore
afraid of
if
words.
if
I'm
I
not
wasn't
afraid of
calling-
words, but like,
Hey,
sounds
if
like
you're
you are.
trying to have, like conversations with people and you're trying to be
Hey,
Christian,
hey,
we
the
can
word whore's in the
agree.
Bible,
Like
right?
saying offensive words is probably not in your best interest.
Hey, is the
Well,
word whore in the Bible?
offense is
Yes or no?
taken, isn't it?
Just call him a son of hell next time, and you'll be doing Jesus's.
I don't think that's a good. I don't think it's a good
Why
thing to
not?
hide behind, Andy.
What is the
No,
word
but
whore in the Bible? Can you answer my question? Since you care so much about the word faggot, they use the word
Piezo,
whore,
that was
right?
genius, Piezo.
I mean, that's not even related to homosexuality, really. Calling someone a
Yeah.
faggot.
I do have to run. Thank you. I will some other time. You can educate me on why you think Jesus might use the word faggot if he was here. I just cannot. I can't see it. Maybe I've been
Why
blue
did he call
pilled,
people? Why?
but
Yeah,
that
why did
just
he call
feels like an
people
obvious
snakes and
thing
sons of the devil?
because they were hypocrites and they were snakes.
Because of their behavior. Were they literally snakes, or was their behavior snake-like?
They were hypocrites and their behavior was snake-like.
Okay,
Their
so if
behavior is
someone's
bad.
behavior is faggot-like, and I call them a faggot, is that any different?
I notice how I've asked you 4 times and you can't answer it because you know the answer.
Jesus called someone a female fox. That's. I'd be more insulted on if somebody called me a female fox.
A vixen?
Oh, it just says female fox. I don't know.
The English word for that is vixen.
All right. Anyways, let's just move on, guys. Let's move on.
The funny thing is I can't answer his question because I don't pretend to know like what Jesus would say to a person. But I can definitely say it's not outside the realm of possibility, depending on his intent and the context.
I mean, if he's gonna come back and kill everyone on Earth, I don't think there's any bounds on what he would or wouldn't say.
Except that he's not going to come back and kill everyone.
Oh, somebody told me he was gonna come kill everyone. How many people's he
No,
gonna
just
kill?
the bad ones. The rest can go to heaven. So actually, yeah, I guess everybody else does. Everybody dies.
Who's the bad
Does
ones? The
going to
ones that
heaven
have,
count as dying?
like, if I wake up and did some small little sin, I'm dead. He's gonna kill me.
Yeah, well, the point was, right, is like, if I call someone a faggot, it's because they're either literally gay or they're behaving in a mannerism that is gay-like, like
See, I
effeminate,
wouldn't even
right?
call someone. I wouldn't even call someone a faggot if they were gay, because I don't even use the word like that. Like, we in the '80s, we didn't even use it like that.
Yeah, it's for me. It's either for gay or effeminate is how I use it. So if someone is behaving in a very effeminate way, like what that guy was doing, where it's like I'm gonna hide behind my keyboard and like lie about you and like force myself into your conversation, even though I'm unwanted and you're telling me to leave you alone. That's like effeminate behavior because you would never do that in real life. It's incredibly offensive and weird and annoying. And it's like, what's your purpose in even doing this? Like, these are all behaviors that are effeminate. Like, men don't do these things. So I ascribe a word to you that showcases your effeminacy. And then this dude comes in and wants to play like Go Power Ranger Justice Police or whatever. But It's no different than the word whore being used. People get super offended by the word whore. Well, why are you offended by the word whore? Well, you shouldn't call people that. Why not? Why do you not use the word whore? What does the word whore mean? Oh, it's someone who has, sex outside of marriage or indiscriminately or for money. Okay, so someone who sleeps around outside of marriage and potentially for money is by definition a whore. Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like a technical definition. Correct. Is that how it's used in the Bible? Yes. Oh, so if someone is like they talk about whoredom, like if someone is a whore or engaging in whoredom, that means that they are like taking on very many lovers, right? That are not their husband or wife. Yeah, or not their husband. Correct. Okay, so what's offensive about that? No one can give you a good answer as to why it's offensive. The reason it's offensive is because you're calling out their sin. You're roboting. You're roboting, bro. Hold on. Reset. You're roboting.
You're roboting hardcore, bro.
All right, how's that?
I think you're better.
Okay, so this gaslighting is crazy. It's very obvious what happened. You got mad at him and you called him a faggot. It's not that big of a deal. Like, don't try and intellectualize it. Like, you're just taking a bunch of
faggot, but it was valid
negative
in
things
the
he's
context
doing,
of what I chose to say.
labeling it faggot.
I didn't
It's
choose
like,
to call him a curse word.
It's not like some well-crafted thing. You don't have to justify it. We've all called somebody a faggot before. It's fine. Just calm down. You probably shouldn't do it. It's like a bad thing.
It's interesting how you're trying to like tell me what I should or shouldn't do, or peer into my mind as if you know. Like, that's actually the weird thing right here, as if you're trying to like dictate to me what's in my mind or what my intentions are.
That's even more faggot
I can derive
behavior, to be honest.
from the things that people do. Yes, that is something that is a power that all humans
know
have.
the minds of other people more so than themselves.
Yes, I can derive people's intent from their actions.
Yeah, let's.
The same power
I'm going to
that everyone
disengage
on
now
the
with your
planet Earth
nonsense.
has.
Anyway,
yeah, let's just move on to something.
So the reason that people find that word whore or faggot offensive is because those words simply describe a lifestyle choice. And since those lifestyle choices are painted in a negative light, people do not want their particular lifestyle choices to be painted negatively, and therefore they take offense to it. But some things are meant to be offensive. This idea in society that we are not allowed to have ideas that are offensive is in itself absurd and offensive.
Bigot says what?
The idea that we are not allowed to espouse ideas that are offensive to other people is in itself absurd and offensive.
How about you just keep to yourself and don't insult people?
Is it okay? That's what I literally just spent all that time going through.
I get it.
If someone is a prostitute and you call them a whore, that is literally not an insult.
Okay, just don't.
Oh, I will choose to, and you can get over it.
Okay, then you're just actively being a dick.
No, that's your opinion.
Okay,
now you're
it's my
me.
opinion. Okay, that's fine.
No, that's just you being a dick.
No, it's not. See, there's a standard. There's a standard, right, for right and wrong. And it doesn't matter what you think. If someone does something that's wrong, it's wrong.
No, you're pushing your standard on other people by assuming they agree. Yeah, I was going to say, just don't be a dick.
Yeah, like
really
having
not that hard.
butt sex with men is wrong.
Yeah, and we judge what you did. Jesus Christ was not right.
But buddy, your prostitute's back there for a reason.
To
like
your standard, okay.
Let's face our demons here and realize that we're all just fucking humans. Like, there's no reason to be a dick.
What is your definition of being a dick? Is that offending people?
You, what you're doing right now, being a dick, right here.
No, I mean that's not a good definition. Is it offending?
I don't need that. I don't need to have a definition. I could just call it as I see it. You're being a dick. Don't be a dick.
By what? Offending you?
Being called a faggot.
I don't need to. I don't need to define it. I can just say you're being a dick.
So using the word whore is being a dick.
By calling somebody that, yeah, by making somebody's lived experience less appealing, by hurting them emotionally, by pushing your quote unquote right and wrong on other people. That's being a dick.
So just to clarify, what you're saying is if someone is having sex for money, and I describe them with a word which, by definition, describes someone who has sex for money, that is hurting
Why are
their
you
feelings.
describing other people? Just fucking tend to yourself.
Once
When you
again,
point finger at
you can't
somebody, you
Guys, we
answer
point
my
gotta
three
move.
back at
We gotta
question.
yourself.
move on, guys.
Yeah, you can't
No,
answer my
we don't
question
have
Guys, we
to
because
gotta
it's
move
like
on.
move
He's
on.
being a
triggering your
dick.
emotions.
He's being a dick.
This is actually important, Jeremy, because
He's doing it all over.
there's people who are afraid of these hurty words, and they need to be put in the place, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Put
it's
in their
like,
place for being afraid of hurty words. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah,
Jesus.
you know
you're
the road to hell with pain with good intentions, right? That's what you're doing
Okay.
right now.
Okay. Then
No,
do
so
what
when
you
I
need to do to not go to hell. What the fuck?
No, I want
Just
to
leave
help
other people
you.
alone.
I want to help you.
I
Well, it's not
don't
just
now,
helping
want
him
for help.
individually. It's a problem in society, right? Like,
Yeah, it
actually,
really
it
is.
is deleterious to the upstanding, good moral character of a productive and efficient society for people to be to be afraid to like say words. Okay.
I'm not afraid to say words. I
Well,
am
you're trying
afraid of
to
people
scold
saying
me for
words
using
without.
them.
Yeah, but I'm afraid of people saying words without being able to accept consequences and say that they're, oh, just because I pissed somebody off me doesn't mean that I'm wrong. Like, just don't be a
Yeah, that
dick.
exactly. Just because I piss someone off doesn't mean I'm wrong. You said it
Okay,
like perfectly.
okay, but you don't need to do that. What benefit are
I
you?
don't need to
I don't
do that.
understand. Yeah, you don't need
Yeah.
to espouse your opinions
So
that are
these
causing
things
negative
that are
feelings in other
so these
people.
things that I'm labeling like whoredom and faggotry, those are not in good standing they are deleterious to an
Okay,
upstanding good moral
then they
society.
go to hell. Then they go to hell.
No, we're
What the
not
fuck
even
is it your
talking about
problem?
hell right now, bro. We're talking about society. It's temporal. It's
No,
right now. It's
you're
present.
applying Western Christian ideals to society.
It was a
You're
European
skipping a
Western
step.
Christian ideal that built modern civilization, homie. Why don't you
Okay,
go to a
I don't
different
give a
society that doesn't
shit.
have those ideals and see how well it's doing?
Okay, that's fine. We don't need them.
Yo, 99% of modern civilization has been invented by America. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, like white European Christian ideals built modern civilization.
Okay, good. I don't give a shit.
So I can take a pragmatic position and say that you're wrong from a pragmatic point of view.
Does the United States
literally
get credit
invented
for wheels or
If you don't
cars?
want to appeal,
yourself.
if you don't want to appeal to moral objective standards, I can go to a pragmatic standard and say you're still wrong. Either way.
Okay, that's
We
fine.
actually do get credit for inventing the wheel. We invented vulcanized rubber. So I would give us credit for
What
inventing
about
the wheel,
doors,
yes.
though? We get credit for doors, too?
I just don't understand
Yo,
how you
America's
calm
feel like
down,
you
filled
can
pal.
tell other
with
people what they
Calm
Europeans
can and
down.
can't
fleeing
do.
their own country for war and famine. That's what America is filled with.
In 1,000 years, the Chinese are going to be dictating your morals. So
I don't think
Okay,
anybody
cool.
knows what's going to happen 1,000 years from now, there, buddy.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's dictating your morals. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah, like you have this standard of what you think a dick is. I don't think it's being a dick.
Okay. I'm telling you, from my perspective, you're being a dick. So I'm going to call you out for being a dick.
Because what? I offended you? Like
No,
what?
I don't need to.
You can't
I
even
don't
tell
have
me
to define
why.
it. I don't have to.
I mean, dude, you're arguing like a middle schooler right now.
Yeah, I don't do. I'm
You
just
can't
telling
be
you,
direct. You
you're
can't
being a
just
dick.
tell me the problem. Like you're having
Yeah.
like a conversation with an adult. Like you're what?
Yeah.
You're
You're just a little
executive
child that can't
manager
even have a
level position at
conversation
some
with
like Amazon
somebody.
company,
Jesus.
and you can't have a direct conversation. Like, how do you deal with your employees, bro?
You just don't be a dick. You don't need to dive any deeper than that. I'm saying you're acting out of line here, and I would like you
I
to
asked
stop.
you how is it out of line. So hold on. If you have to like talk to an employee about something they've done wrong, and they say, "Can you tell me what I've done wrong?" And they're like, "Yeah, you're just wrong. Stop being wrong." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, but what is it that I did that was wrong?" You're like,
If
"You know what it
if
is.
you
Just stop being
said,
wrong."
okay, well, if we're gonna go white collar on this, if you had used either of those words in a corporate setting, yeah, that's instantly an HR violation.
Okay,
You
and
can't do
why
that.
in this setting, since this isn't a corporate setting, this is a colloquial setting, why does it make someone a dick to use one of those words? Go.
Because I'm holding you to that same standard in this setting. Do better.
Standard of what? What, like, you still haven't explained how the use
said.
of the word
I just said,
makes someone a
quote
dick.
unquote, HR violation. I don't care where you are. I'm saying in this space, you say things, I don't like them. I'm going to say, I don't like it. You can choose to continue being a dick. I'm just making it apparent to everybody in
So
here
you
that I
don't
think you're being a
like
dick.
it. Okay, so it makes someone a dick because they said something you don't like.
Yeah,
No, it's
pretty
the
much.
way you
So in
engage with
effect,
other people,
you're saying
Jesus. You can have
don't
a
say things
conversation
that
with
I
somebody
don't
instead of
like.
calling them all kind of name and saying that you don't want to talk to them because you do disagree with them. You're just excluding
Yeah,
somebody in a
Crizzle, that's
space
not what I
filled
said. I
with
said I
people
never said
Guy
having a
that.
keeps calling him
conversation.
a dick.
I know. Just don't be a
Grizzle, the
dick.
guy keeps calling him a dick. How is that
Guys, we
any
got to move
different from
on.
him being
Right.
a
He's
We got
calling
to
me
move
all
on,
these
guys.
names
Come
this
on.
whole time, right? And I'm not returning any name calling to him. And I'm
That's
asking
fine.
him, and he says, the reason I call you that is because you said something I don't like.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
haven't said it, and you haven't
So
said it
now
since. So
so now
mission
you're telling
accomplished.
me wait, now you're telling me that if someone says something you don't like, you have the right to call them names, but I called something a name you didn't like and I didn't have a right to call him that? That sounds like hypocrisy to me. Why don't you
Okay,
hold me to
cool.
the
I'm
same standard you hold
hypocritical.
yourself
I
to?
don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
Definitely hypocrisy.
You're being a dick.
I think you should call out the hypocrisy of this guy that keeps calling you a dick.
Right. He
Okay,
Guys,
said
we
you
got
sure.
to
called
move on,
someone a
man. This
name.
is
You called someone a name that I don't like. So I'm going to
Okay,
call you a name that you don't like.
you do it.
You
I have
just
clipping
did,
on.
bro.
Let's go.
You're
Let's go.
doing it
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
whole
know.
time.
Yeah, come on, bring the
You're
words. Bring
being
the
a
words that you want to
hypocrite
use.
now.
I don't care. You
So
know
now you
fundamentally that
don't
the words
care that you're a
listen.
hypocrite. So
So what do you,
You
your
know at
so
your
now
core
phone
the
you're
and he's
being
words
being
effeminate.
bad.
a
Come on,
hypocrite
come on.
now? That's
No,
hypocritical.
So now
I'm
hold
you're
on,
being
saying
guys. This is
effeminate, right?
audio
you
chaos. This
understand
is
real quick.
absolute audio
Okay,
chaos. We
all
got
right,
to hold
sorry.
on, man.
Yeah,
Hold
no, you're
on,
right.
dude. This is audio chaos. We got to just move on, man. This is not
No, real quick.
not going anywhere.
It's fine. I'm just saying he understands that me calling him a dick is not at the same level of the other words that he was choosing to use, and hence him not using those words back at me because
Oh
he
no,
knows it's a TOS violation.
I'm fundamentally disagree with you
That's
on your
fine.
perspective of calling me a name because I used words that you don't like.
And Discord
Right?
doesn't like as well. Society is
I
not on
don't
your
care
side
what
here,
dude,
homeboy.
look, dude, I'll go anywhere on any street corner and say faggot or whore as many times as I want. This is America. If you don't believe in that, move to China, faggot.
Bingo.
How about
All
that?
right. All right. Love it. All right. Thanks. Deuces, Jesus.
Guys,
Yeah,
please,
I
man.
actually
Can we just
yeah.
move on from this?
What a nice Christian thing to say.
Yeah, let's not call names and let's just move on, please.
I spent years of
Yeah,
my
you let him
life
call
serving
him a
this
dick
country
for the
to
last
stand for
10
and
minutes.
uphold the laws of free speech that we have. So if some dude wants to come in here and call me names and then tell me I don't have a right to speak freely, in my opinion, he needs to leave this country. Because he goes completely and totally against the laws of the land for which he lives in and is a benefactor of.
Did Robert call you names?
Well, there's a deeper issue here, and that's what he's trying to point out. Besides the hypocrisy, I mean, Josh, you must be a proponent of freedom of speech, right?
He left as soon as he was like begging me to say that word to him, so I finally did, and then he left.
I realize it's not a tree and a car, Jeremy. It's not quite captivating to you, but it's very important, I would say, especially in terms of freedom of speech.
It's the demoralization of society is what's actually happened, right? Like they've basically treated ideas as dangerous, right? Words as hurtful, and said you're not allowed to espouse any ideas that hurt people's feelings. But that standard is arbitrary because they can say words that hurt our feelings all they want, right? But we're not allowed to say words that hurt their feelings. So then they create this protected class of ideas that are okay, and then a second class of ideas that are not okay, and it's arbitrarily established by, whatever the status quo is at the time.
Absolutely.
That's completely antithetical to a free society.
I feel
Yeah,
like
but in a
that
free
saying sticks and
society,
stones will
everybody has
break
a
my bones
say.
and
Even
words will never hurt me. Go ahead, Crizzle.
yeah, but in a free society, everybody gets to say, including Robert. So you may not agree with what he's saying, but you can at least hear what he has to say.
Crizzle, he was
That's
literally
great.
lying.
Yeah.
Then
Anyways, I
fight him
feel
on
like the
what he's
front saying
saying and
sticks
give
and
him the
stones
truth.
fucking A, Crizzle.
Yeah, it's just I literally
Like
did
you
that.
already went. Crizzle, you already went. Why would you try to go again?
Because he was answering me and I was answering him, maybe?
What were you going to say, Jeremy? I mean, it's just like it would be like if Crizzle made a claim and was like, tectonic plate movement, or ground waves, if she said ground waves account for vibrations and interferometry, and then someone accused Crizzle of saying there's no such thing as ground waves, and she's like, no. I explicitly said that there are ground waves, and they explain things. And they're like, no, you didn't. I'm here to hold you accountable for saying the opposite of what you think you said. And she's like, dude, you're clearly a weirdo, and I don't know what you're doing. Can you just leave me alone and stop talking to me? And he just continues to try to force his way into a conversation with you. That's literally what happened with Robert. And it's like, if you were in that same situation, you would also tell him, leave me alone.
No, I would just say, look it up and give him the evidence instead of scrolling all around like you did.
Okay, Grizzle, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're definitely gonna convince him with evidence when his intention has nothing to do with actually being honest. You're acting as if you can take an honest approach with dishonest people and it'll just work perfectly.
What are you doing then basically here on the internet? You're only spreading IDs as well, while you're still ignoring the westward drift of Earth's electromagnetic field,
Okay,
which gives you the tangential lift of your fucking gyro.
Oh, okay, Crizzle. We can disagree about those concepts, and that's fine. But I'm not going to falsely accuse you of saying things you never said, and then when you clarify to me your actual words, just continue to repeat the same lie about you over and over again. That's what I'm not going to do. That's what Robert does. So you defending him is just weird. It doesn't even make sense.
Okay, what's
Robert
one nice?
has his repertoire he turns on every time. You know how he is. You know how he interacts. You should be able to handle him by this.
Oh,
or
so
not.
it's my fault that he comes in here and acts like a dishonest person. Got it. Right. Let's blame shift it to me. It's my fault for the way Robert behaves.
See, this is why we don't call people names, because now we've just spent the last, 20 minutes talking about calling people names. Like,
No,
can
no,
we just not
people
call names?
people call names in here all the time. It's a major problem lately as well. I don't know if you're
I
like
know.
where you're at.
I wish we could all stop.
Yeah, I think that cursing should be like banned as a rule of decorum, right? Like not because it's like inherently you don't have the right to say like those things, but like as a rule of decorum, you shouldn't curse people out. But if you are using a descriptor like the words I was describing earlier, like whore or faggot, or an action based descriptor that labels someone based on the actions they take, like liar. Liar would be a good word. Are we allowed to call people liars? I wouldn't think anyone would object to that. It's a descriptor of actions that people take. It's the same thing as whore.
We've actually had hour-long debates on whether we should be calling people liars in here or not, because it's kind of, I don't know. People think you're not telling the truth, then they say you're lying. You could just be confused or mistaken. Like, how do you know when somebody's really lying? Like, I don't know. We've debated if we should even call people liars in here. I know.
Any motive?
People think you're not telling the truth, then they say you're lying. You could just be confused or mistaken. Like, how do you know when somebody's really lying? Like, I don't know. We've debated if we should even call people liars in here. I know.
You need motive in order to declare a lie, so you need the intent or something. So yeah, you can't just be like, "Yo, you're a liar," and that's it. You would be like, "Hey, the reason that I know you're lying is because you have this specific motive," and then it would be okay.
Yeah, I mean, if someone accuses you in a recorded
Do you know
space of
how I know
saying
when the
something,
Globers are?
like that's easy. Like if I say 5 seconds ago, Jeremy, you just called me a purple dragon. You're like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, yeah, you did. I'm holding you accountable for it. I mean, it's just an objective fact that that did not happen. And if you continue to say it, you are objectively a liar. Like there's like, if we're not allowed to say
Yeah, I
that,
would
then
call
that's
you a
just
liar at
censorship.
that point.
Right. So
No,
like if
see,
I'm
that's when I would say it is okay. Yeah.
so like words that describe behaviors like liar or whatever other behavior descriptors should be fine. You shouldn't cuss people. You shouldn't use words that are purely insults. Right? You shouldn't like say MFer or blah 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 blah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like if someone does something and I use a word to describe their behavior, such as liar, then like it would be censorship to tell me I can't say that.
What if somebody banged my mom though? Then I should be able to call him a mother
man.
effer.
Okay, Jeremy.
What about Dragon? You like Dragon, Jeremy?
Imagine Dragons.
Dragging
They
these
got that one
nuts
good
across
song.
your face.
Oh, that's a good one. No, I
But-
like Dragons, bro.
More importantly, did you see what just happened there, Jeremy? In that he said, "I don't like your words, but I can say my words. My insults are fine, yours aren't." Did you see the problem with that? I know you don't want any insults. I understand that, but did you see the problem? The sneaky little tactic that he just snuck in there.
But that's how it all starts. So, like, if we just
but
don't
that's
call
effeminate.
names, none of that.
That's effeminate behavior. That was my point. Like, that's not the behavior of men, right? Because the typical like masculine behavior is to confront and face head on like the problem, right? And effeminate behavior is to like strike you as you walk away or cry or strike you as you cry, right? Like, oh, you're like, I'm going to insult you as I cry about you insulting me, right? And just make myself the perpetual victim while I continue to do the thing to you that I'm accusing you of. Like, that's an effeminate behavior. So like masculine and feminine have different ways that they like approach conflict. It's just like, the natural tendencies of the two sides. But, men should operate within their nature and approach things directly. I would expect that from men. When I see a woman do the effeminate nature way of conflict, I expect that as well. But like if I see a man doing it, I'm going to call them out for being effeminate. And then they get offended at being called effeminate. It's like, well, then stop being effeminate. Like if it's offensive to you, then that means that you're implicitly acknowledging that you shouldn't do that. Otherwise, it wouldn't bother you. Why is it bothering you to be called out for the thing you're doing? Like by even being offended in the first place, they are granting you the fact that what they're doing is bad.
Wesley, there.
Yeah, what's up, Jeremy?
Now, your boy Pinky failed fucking miserably yesterday.
On what?
Miserably.
On
I'm gonna
Coriolis?
hit you with it right now. I'm gonna hit
Are
you
we
with
in
it right now, and let's see how
Are
you
we?
do. All right, you
Are we
ready?
in Coriolis week,
Pop.
Jeremy?
Oh, Jeremy, you
It's
just reminded
almost
me,
over,
dude.
guys. It's almost
You just
over.
reminded me. Oh, dude,
What's
this
up?
Sunday is going to be a huge Prezi. This Sunday is going to be a huge Prezi on the what we found
What are
from
they doing?
from the Romer dig. Globebusters is doing
From the what?
the old Romer dig, like the dig, the Romer method of ranging the moons of Jupiter, right, and deducing the speed of light. Yeah, dude, it's so much worse than we literally came in here and gave that little preliminary thing a couple days ago, just on our first, like we'd worked on it like the day before and been working like on that night on it. So it was just like 1 day's worth of work. But then we've been digging more, dude. The historical record confirms it. So check it out. Old Romer and Halley and Cassini and Newton and like a whole handful of people were all working on this problem in like the late 1600s and early 1700s, and they're writing about it in Latin to each other, and they're acknowledging like it sure seems strange and hard to believe that there is like that the period of Jupiter's moons is tied to Earth's position. And they're like, it also seems weird that like we're trying to solve for the speed of light for Io, and we seem to be able to get pretty close to it, but then that same value, if we plug it in for the other three moons, it doesn't work at all. And they're just having a conversation about it, and like basically what ended up happening is they took the observations they had. The observations that they had couldn't produce the right value. It could only get kind of close. So they weighted those values to try to get it closer. And then it completely ignored the fact it didn't work for the other three moons, and completely ignored the fact that there was this like Earth attachment in the periodicity wobble of Jupiter's moons. And that's what we actually found when we analyzed the data. We had no idea that any of this was even a thing. We were just randomly like trying to analyze the old Romer method using modern data. And when we used the JPL ephemeris to analyze it, all this stuff popped out. And lo and behold, when we go back and look at the record about it, we looked up all the references of them talking about like the Romer data and the Romer method. We find them acknowledging these same things, like back 350 years ago.
When was that?
Bro,
1676.
when
400
you brought this
years
up,
ago?
Oh no, National
when you
Shield Theory.
brought
Wait
this up,
before he incessantly interrupts, dude. Uh-oh. Here's the MO. What you said,
450
Jeremy?
years
when
ago? That's when it was?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
when you brought this up months and months and months ago, super intriguing, and I was waiting to hear more on it because I never heard anything else. You were like uncertain. You said the guy did it and he didn't get the same result and shit. So I've been wondering about this ever since. Yeah, I can't wait. Sunday, you said?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Sunday. I think we're gonna present it Sunday.
So wait a minute, you're going
Are
back
they doing it
to
here? They
400?
gonna do it here, or
It's probably on the Globe Busters, but I think Alan's gonna do a Prezi here too.
So
yeah? Tell them to
going
do it
back
here too, so we can, because not
you're
all of
going
us
back
watch Globusters.
Right.
using modern data for a 450-year-old method.
Well, the method necessarily has to be correct. Doesn't matter when you do
They
it.
found out that the light wasn't instantaneous. Yeah. So what?
Yeah, but the method has to return the exact value for C if the distances are
does?
accurate.
Well, why would
Yeah,
it have to return the exact value 450 years ago?
Because velocity equals distance over time. So if you know the speed of light and you know the distance, you should
they
be able
didn't
to
know the
predict
speed of light.
the time. But we do now, right? We do
Yeah,
now?
we do now, but they
Okay,
didn't then.
so hold on. Oh, no. We're not using Romer's data. We're using modern data. So hold on. We're going to use the
Using
modern speed
modern
of light.
data for a 450-year-old method, not using current.
Hold on.
Not using current
NASA,
methods.
stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting me. We're going to take turns here. So you acknowledge that the speed of light is known. You acknowledge that the distance to Jupiter is known. So if I know the speed of light and I know the distance to Jupiter, do you think I should be able to predict the amount of time it takes for the light to get there, to get here from Jupiter?
They didn't know the speed of light.
I'm talking about today. I'm talking about today.
He's
I'm
not
talking about
He'll
today.
never address what you say. He always does this.
No, what I mean is you got a
NASA,
450-year-old
stop talking about
method.
400 years ago. I'm talking about today. That's not what the
Why are you
conversation we're having.
using? But you're using Romer, which is 450
Who said anything about
years
Romer? I'm
ago.
asking you a basic
You did.
question.
You
No,
did.
that's not what I said. I didn't say Romer. I said, do we know the speed of light? Yes. Do we know the distance to Jupiter? Yes. Okay, if we know those two things, should we be able to predict the amount of time it takes Jupiter's light to reach us? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Well, when we dug through the data, it turns out that we don't know that.
We do know that. What are you talking
Okay, well then wait for the presentation because you're wrong, and so is everybody else
I'm
in astronomy.
excited. I
for
can't
50
wait.
years.
So it's everybody else,
can't
right?
wait.
But 450 years ago, they didn't know the distance to Jupiter. They didn't know the speed of light.
Well,
and
actually,
yet they found out.
350 years ago, they claimed that they did know distances, right? So
Well, this
because they
is
had they already had the
450 years, yeah.
astronomical unit. No, this is 350 years ago.
350 years ago.
Yeah, this is during the time of Newton. So this was like, well after they had established the astronomical unit and created a scale for the solar system. But once again, none of that matters. That's not even the argument. This is using modern data. So like for you to be arguing against 350-year-old data is weird, bro, because I'm using NASA's JPL ephemeris.
Right, but then you're going back for a 350-year-old experiment.
Dude, it's just distance over time. You're acting like that's a method from 350 years ago. That's the definition of velocity.
So why are you going back to a 350-year-old method?
To demonstrate that there are things heliocentrism cannot account for. It is called an internal critique. We are performing an internal critique of the heliocentric system. If heliocentrism is true,
is the method correct?
that's the point. If heliocentrism is true, then we should be able, using Jupiter's moons, right? Using the distance to them and using the known speed of light, we should be able to predict the timing of the eclipses when Earth is close and Earth is far away.
What method are you using? What method are you using?
We're using Romer's eclipse timing method.
Okay, is that accurate?
In essence or in reality?
In reality, does present day physics and mathematics say that that's accurate?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, for sure. They say that it's accurate, right? It has to be accurate, or else physics is wrong.
Currently, they say that's accurate. That method is accurate. Nobody disputes that.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll
it is
listen.
established. It is established as a valid method. They use it for
Oh.
longitude, bro. They used it for longitude. You can't say it's invalid. It was literally
Okay.
used for longitude.
Yeah,
Okay,
so then
bro.
what we do is we can measure the speed that the like how long it takes us to see that light, and then
Right.
basically compare that to the speed of light, right?
Right. So what you do is you see like it. You can get what's called the implied speed of light. So if you just take the timing differences between the eclipses at two different points, and you average that out across a year or 3 years, you can get what's called the implied speed of light, which is just distance over time equals speed. Here's what the velocity it says it is. And it's wildly off, but that's not even the biggest problem. Like that's enough. That's enough to like falsify it. But there's a second layer problem, which is even deeper. And the second layer problem is that the period of Jupiter's moons is not perfect. It's not constant. It has a slight wobble in it. And that wobble, when you plot the wobble out, it's a sinusoid. And the time axis of the sinusoid matches 91% to 94% to the Earth year, to Earth's position, the Earth solar year and the Earth Jupiter synodic year. When you take the Earth solar year and the Earth Jupiter synodic year and you superposition them together, you get a sinusoid that is a 91 to 94% match to Jupiter's moon Io and Jupiter's moon Meropa's periodicity wobble. And that's completely unexplainable in the heliocentric model. Jupiter's moons absolutely do not care about the Earth whatsoever. Like there's no connection at all between those two objects. Earth might as well not exist. And yet it's clearly present in the data, and they were talking about it in like 1680s.
So you realize that the estimate that you got for the speed of light is not the same as the value we have today, right?
Dude, that's not even my argument. I don't know why you're asking me that question.
Why not? You go to. I'm interested in why you're taking modern data in a 350-year-old experiment.
I already explained it. I'm not going to go in a circle with you. If you don't have like listening comprehension, it's not my job to repeat it. Go back
Well,
and
I have
listen to the
listening
recording.
comprehension. It's that you don't seem to have reasoning comprehension.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wouldn't the sinusoidal, wouldn't it just be due to Earth being further away from Jupiter as a function of
No.
time?
Oh, that's a good question, Josh. So yeah, to answer your question, we took all the data in the Jovicentric frame. I forgot to say that this time. Like I that's part of the presentation, but we from the position of Jupiter, as seen from Jupiter, the calculation is purely computed from the geometry of Sun, Jupiter, Moon. So there's a straight line between the Sun and Jupiter, and then that Jupiter casts a shadow behind it, and the Moon moves into the shadow. That's the only thing that we're using to calculate this is the Jovicentric frame, eclipses and periods of the moons. And within
So
that calculation, the periodicity wobble, the periodicity sinusoid appears.
So what's your conclusion from this study?
That there's some intrinsic Earth-based anchor to the periodicity sinusoid in Jupiter's moons.
And
To a
Sorry, go ahead.
To a correlation of 91 to 94%. What were you going to say?
I'm just trying to think of like, yeah, I was gonna say like I feel like I'd be interested to see the eccentricity value of the moons because then the argument of periapsis would actually persist, which would cause the eclipses not to be not a pure circular orbit. So the time of eclipse actually would, go up and down sinusoidally as the elliptical orbit persists around.
Yeah. So there once again, the periodicity is not constant. It's not just a perfect circle, but right, the specific values of that wobble are what we plot. And there's absolutely no reason for the specific values of those wobbles on the time axis to be, 94% correlated with Earth years. Doesn't make any sense.
There's no reason why the moon and the sun should be the same angular size, yet they are. I mean, there's a lot of things that, correlation doesn't imply causation.
Yeah, that's a problem for you, not me.
No, it's a problem for you. You're
Yeah, clearly not. But anyways,
clearly
it'll be
it's
Sunday,
not for you.
so
I know. I
you should,
understand you can
you
just
should check
wave
it
your
out.
hand, and I understand you can just wave your hand and say no. But okay.
I was gonna say when it comes to orbital dynamics. Sorry, I got a phone call when I was in the middle of talking. When it comes to orbital dynamics, like I feel like I have a very good handle on what the hell's going on out there. So at least within the Sol system. So I would actually really enjoy looking at your deck if you've got one put together. Oh wait, he's gone. That's sad.
I think you guys don't understand the argument at all. Okay, if I watch Jupiter and I watch one of its moons and I time it when it goes behind Jupiter and then I time when I can see the moon again, if all of your numbers are correct, diameter of Jupiter, all of that, and there's a very specific time until I should be able to see that moon again because we know speed of light, all of it. It's not the time you're saying it should be. Okay? Do you guys understand the argument yet?
Well, he was saying there was like a sinusoidal,
You want to address what I
value.
just said, or do you want to just say he was saying this?
No, I'm saying it's not constant. It's a time that the time it takes is a function of where Earth is relative to Jupiter. That's why I asked. That's why I asked, and he said he was
Is
in
the
the
amount of
Jovian stream.
time that the light reflects off of the moon of Jupiter to your eye something in that's variant? You saying speed of light's not a constant?
No, I'm saying
Okay, that's
you
the
do it
issue.
over
So if you
time.
could just deal
Oh
with the
Lord.
actual issue instead of some other thing that you're going off about. I already laid out the argument very easily, okay? If I could see the moon of Jupiter, and then it goes behind Jupiter, and then I could see the moon of Jupiter when it comes out, why is that timing not adding up to your all your numbers with the
don't
diameter of Jupiter? Is
I
the
don't think that was the
diameter of
argument.
Jupiter wrong or what?
I don't think that was the argument. He was talking about a
Dude,
time
this is
function.
the argument. I've talked to them many times. I know
Reality
how to
doesn't fit the
simplify
model.
the argument. Why are you not addressing the argument?
Because you're not addressing. I mean, I would love to hear from Jesus. I
You
think you're
have already an
misinterpreting it.
established model
Okay.
with all the numbers, and it doesn't match reality. You don't see the problem?
Yeah, you don't see the problem?
Like I said, I would be more than happy to look at the deck. I don't believe that that's true.
Okay, you don't
As of
believe
now.
it's true. So you're incredulous, right? You're just saying you don't believe it.
As the great Ben
Yeah,
Shapiro,
I don't have any
facts
data right
don't
now.
care about your feelings
Okay,
or your
that's fine.
beliefs.
Doesn't matter
Exactly.
whatever you believe is true, Josh, because even if I got you to agree to it, you could later disagree to it and act like it never happened. Because
Like I
you've
said,
done that.
I would love to see
Because
data.
you're an agent.
I'm an
You're a
agent.
paid
Okay.
agent. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a paid agent.
you admit it all the time. You never refute it.
I'm
Never
not a
once
paid
have you
agent.
tried to refute it.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not a paid agent.
Prove it.
Prove it. You want my W-2? You want to see my tax returns and where all my income comes
W-2
from?
would prove that you're a paid agent.
You want to see my tax returns? What I told the federal government all my money came from, and you'll see that fucking CIA is not on there.
Oh, is that the only people that pay paid agents? Really, CIA? Is that? Do you know that?
I
Is
can tell
that?
you, I have
I mean,
one
I'm
stream
sure
of
you
income
would
from
know.
last year.
But dude, the bottom line
I
is,
paid
all
my
right, they
Amazon.
see the moon of Jupiter, they see it go behind Jupiter, and then it reappears, right? And we could see it again. And if we do all the calculations for when that should be that you see it, we're seeing it sooner than when you should see it. Why is that?
Again, I don't have any of the numbers, so I can't
Can you
refute
can you
or agree with
speculate
that.
like one reason why that would be?
Yeah, because
Your model's wrong?
I'm assuming. Well, I'd assume that your prediction has the Earth Jupiter distance at one level, and when you're actually taking the measurement, it's at a different level because, like I said, the distance between Earth and Jupiter is varies as a function of time.
Yeah, it's we use points in time using JPL, so it's not like a measurement error, right? It's just
Oh, you're back. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sorry.
isn't this a time issue? Like it's time averaged, or like you're taking
So
multiple measurements?
yeah, so the way you have to do it, right? Like if you look at the history of it, Romer was off. He should have gotten like 17 and a half minutes. He ended up getting 22 minutes. And they say that like, there's reasons for that, but one of the main reasons is that he didn't have like a complete data set. And, thus he couldn't do the total pair averaging across the whole year, or X many years to reduce it. And
I was gonna
so
say that sounds like sample size error.
Yeah, so when you have too small of a sample size, you're not going to be able to extract the full signal, and you're going to get inaccurate values. But that's why we did it with 1 year, 3 years, and 30 years with JPL, and all of those produce about the same value. And we get, instead of getting 300K, Romer got 220K, which was a little lower. 300K is the right value. We got 460K. And we have, modern papers from like 2015 showing the error distribution, like depending on, which pairs they select throughout the years, that vary between like 30 and 240% error in C. It's like not a small problem. And the only way that they even get close to 300K is by like essentially cherry picking selected pairs based on what they know that it needs to be, but not any actual relevant, full data set residual that bleeds out, which is what we're using, is just the actual residual signal throughout the entire data set. And furthermore, it's not just the fact that the implied C value is wrong. It's that when you also map that periodicity irregularity that's sinusoidally varying, you find that it's sinusoidally varying with respect to the combination of the Earth solar and Earth Jupiter synodic years to a correlation of 91 to 94%. So it's like that is totally outside the realm of explainability within a heliocentric paradigm. And we found just today, actually, when we were going through the historical record of them talking about this, writing Latin papers to each other for whatever reason, that they were acknowledging this and talking about how odd it was and that it seems to be like unbelievable. And then also that the value that they extract for Io, because that's the moon they were using, when they use that value for C for Io, it doesn't match the other 3 moons. Like you should be able to use one value for C and it should correct all 4 moons, right? Because it's just about light speed. But if you use one value for Io, it doesn't work for the other 3. They all 4 of them get different values. And so these are both problems that they were acknowledging back then that they kind of just like swept under the rug and absorbed and never talked about again. And we didn't know about them. And we extracted that with the data that in today's JPL ephemeris. And then we found out that they knew about it back then. So like we actually worked through it independently and found it, and then just happened to find out that they knew about it then.
Okay, cool. I mean, like I said, this is something that I mess around in this sandbox almost every day. So I'd be more than happy to look at your Prezi. And if you have any like Excel spreadsheets or just sort of like showing your work with the, I'm assuming you use JPL Horizons for the ephemeris data. So I would be more than happy to review it.
Yeah, well, there'll be a spreadsheet that comes out with it too. But you can
Love
also
it.
get it.
What do you guys think?
Sorry, I had to do some. By the way, if you're still there, Josh,
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you could go to the NASA's like New Horizons or JPL ephemeris websites. Like you can get data from both of them, either one. But we've got it. Like we had like a Python script to extract it, but then now we've got it in Excel. So it's like it's easier to work with in Excel. So that's probably going to be what we publish. But you're free to check it, and then I would encourage you to pull the data yourself if you want.
Yeah,
We'll have
exactly. I care more about what you did after you got the data, because I can get the data myself. I want to see how you got from the ephemeris data to the these wobbles and inconsistent C values.
Sure. So there's a delta T that you have to measure, and it's that delta T is going to be between like aphelion and perihelion points of Earth with relation to Jupiter. It's hard to get precise, exact aphelion and perihelion points just because both of them are moving within the heliocentric model. So what you do is you take all the pairs across your time window, which is usually going to be a year or 3 years or whatever. But you do that, right? And then those delta T's, you can measure them at immersion, emersion, or midpoint of the eclipse. Like there's different ways to do it. We did it for all three just to see if there's like a large variability, and there's not. There's like only a small variability when you change it from immersion to midpoint of the moon. But either way, you can do it that way. And then when you, like I said, I mean, when you plot it out, that's just like what appears in the data. And it's interesting because what we found is that, like, we were testing it for the rest of the solar system. Like, we found this kind of relationship here. Like, you'd think we'd see it other places. So it only works, like, of Jupiter's 4 moons, it only works with 2 of them. The third and fourth, Ganymede and Callisto. Ganymede kind of does it. Like, it does have some kind of correlation, but it's only like 65%. So, like, it's definitely there, but it's like, it's not as strong as the other ones. And then it doesn't do it for Callisto. And then for like Mars's moons, it doesn't do it at all. Like there's no correlation whatsoever for Mars's moons. And then we did find that Saturn's moons, Rhea and Titan, do it, but there's like this irregularity in the shape. So like when you look at the graphs where you plot like Earth distance against like moon wobble on time axis, they change like directions at the same points in time across the whole graph, but the line shapes are irregular. So it's like it's really weird, right? There's like certain moons in the solar system that do it, and the ones that do it couple like very, very well to the time period window of like Earth's years. And oh yeah, the Saturn one doesn't do the Jupiter synodic year, it does the Saturn synodic year. So it's like the Earth solar year combined with the Saturn synodic year for the Saturn moons, and then the Earth solar year combined with the Jupiter synodic year for the Jupiter moons. But then the other planets' moons like don't have any correlation. So it's just like it's totally inconsistent in a heliocentric paradigm. And even like I said, for Jupiter's moons, it does it for some of them and not the others. So it's like really weird.
Seems like there's a lot of anomalies within the solar system. Then
Yeah,
okay?
that's like we're not proposing a cause, like we're not pretending to know like what's causing it. All we're able to do is say there's this like inexplicable correlation that's like extremely strong, and the correlation is like anchored 90 something percent to Earth. So when we found the historical references where they're all talking to each other and writing to each other, it like really like illuminated it a lot, because actually the Academy de Science or whatever in, I think it was like Paris, they actually in like 1706 or 1708 or whatever the year was, they actually rejected like the whole method and the entire data set, because they were like, it can't be possible that this method works for Io and then you produce a value for C, and then that value for C doesn't work for the other moons. Like it has to be all of them or none. And so they rejected it initially. But then when James Bradley in like 1728, was just 2 decades later, when he like, did his stellar aberration stuff and was like, oh, look, the speed of light's definitely finite. So you guys were probably right. Then everyone just all of a sudden absorbed it and was like, oh, well, I guess we should definitely use it then. And they just used it for Io and ignored the other 3 moons and ignored the, sinusoidal coupling to Earth years. And then we even found Laplace. Laplace did some math in like the 1780s, and he tried to pick it back up and solve for that. He tried to solve for the like the deviations that we discovered, and he was trying to say that it was like mutual perturbations amongst the moons with respect to one another. And so we did an analysis of Laplace's data too. We're working on that today, and it appears like we still got to work on it some more. But I mean, as far as we can tell so far, it looks like he was just trying to plot fits for the sinusoids, and then just blanketly attribute them to causes that like already were mapped out and didn't make any sense. So like in order for the magnitude, because like these are really big perturbances, they're not small ones. In order for the magnitude to be correct, to actually produce the perturbance that exists in the moons, it would require like a gravitational influence that's massive. And so we have a chart that we've made so far with like the Earth on it, Jupiter on it, the Sun on it, and then there's like these all trace like a linear line, like straight up a graph, like a straight line, angling from bottom left to top right. and then you have like an X marks the spot on the top right where like this is where the gravitational influence would need to be in order to create this perturbance gravitationally. And so obviously it's not Jupiter because they're orbiting Jupiter. The only body in the solar system that could even produce it would be the sun, but it can't be the sun because the sun's gravitational force is already accounted for in its pull on Jupiter. So it's like it's not even like internally consistent, like what he tried to do to fix it. And it doesn't even mathematically work out anyway. So it's just like it's really bad. Like it's really bad for them. And I'm really surprised. Like we looked at the modern paper, like the 2015 paper, and it acknowledges that there are periodic disturbances in the moons on a time scale of greater than a couple of months, which is what we found. Like it's the time scale is, of course, within the years, but like across a year, right, throughout a year. And so many different people have found this, but we seem to be the only ones, aside from the original ones in like the 1680s and early 1700s, we seem to be the only ones besides them who have actually mapped it and found that it is sinusoidal with respect to the distance from Earth, which is crazy because that would imply that the position of the moons with respect to the Earth is controlling their wobble, which is just completely not allowed in heliocentrism. Like that's not how that works. That's a total refutation of heliocentric dynamics. So, presentation incoming.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this is what these guys are hoping for, anyways. That's why they sit in these rooms, because they know there's something not right with what they believe. And they're just waiting for like something more solid. So far, the arguments they've been given, they're not exactly happy with. But just because the argument, I want to remind the room, just because the argument hasn't been made to your satisfaction is not a reason to believe a different argument that has been made that also doesn't meet your satisfaction, hence why you're in this room waiting for another one.
Yeah, dude, it's honestly most of the stuff that we deal with is like more FE related, right? This is just purely against the heliocentric model. Like it's not FE at all. It's like on heliocentrism. And so we don't have that many arguments like directly about heliocentrism outside of like interferometry measurements and stuff like that, which are still good, but like most people don't understand those because it kind of requires like physics and visualization. I mean, this is just pure like distance and dynamics in a heliocentric world. So either the distances are wrong or the dynamics are wrong or both, right? Like that's the only thing that would be able to explain this. Because it certainly isn't explainable within what they say now.
Oh, yeah, dude. The minute you came in and started explaining it a second time, all the guys that were, after you left that were like speaking up, they all left already, dude. Because I steel manned your argument and just put it way simpler for them. And they were just like, there's no way that's what he's saying. You know what I mean? Because it is simple. It's a simple concept to understand. And if it is the case that heliocentrism is true and the speed of light is this, then this is what we should observe. We don't observe that. Therefore, you figure out the rest.
That's a good syllogism. Anyone disagree?
Yeah. If not P, then therefore not Q, or what is that? A Tollens or Ponens or something?
That was
What's the name of
Modus
that one?
Tollens. Yeah, that was Modus Tollens.
I mean, I dropped this in like a different Discord, and they were just in there arguing, like, "Oh, this guy thinks that we don't know what C is. If you realize if C was wrong, like science wouldn't work." I'm like, dude, I never made that claim. And it was like spend 30 minutes going back and forth for them arguing with me about what my claim is. It's so asinine. Like, it's so tiring dealing with people who are like incapable of like basic comprehension skills.
I think the speed of light has to be wrong for science to work, because in order to have a thought, I'm going to suggest it happens faster than the speed of light. And that's what's needed in science.
Well, actually, that's a separate thing. There is evidence that certain information streams appear to propagate faster than C, such as human brainwaves. Like, there's evidence suggesting that human thoughts, like the conscience, exists outside of the brain. Because you can do like MRI imaging of brains and like see people's like reactions to things, like with respect to like the speed at which like a connection happens across the brain, or the speed at which like those connections happen at different points in the brain. And it's like there's a certain amount of there's like a finite time window where it should take like the stimulus received acting at like the front left of the brain to get to the back right of the brain, but yet it appears to happen like instantaneously. Right, like both sections of the brain light up at the same time, type stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a great time for science still. Lots of discoveries or maybe even corrections that have to be made. Interestingly enough, we can even use our imagination to see light traveling. Like, you could just maybe close your eyes, envision the sun on one side of your imagination and the earth on the other, if you're going to entertain the globe, and you can actually see the light beam travel uh, at the speed of light to earth, which takes 8 minutes. So even our brain can even understand perhaps the constant, or sorry, the speed of light on large scales, and see that we can even comprehend it. The imagination is pretty amazing. But yeah, maybe it's not the fastest. Oh, it might be close to the fastest, but maybe the
You know
value
what,
isn't.
Eden,
Go
you
ahead.
know why we call it imagination?
No, why?
Because you're an image bearer of the God.
Oh wow, thank you. That's good. That's interesting.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this is what these guys are hoping for anyways. That's why they sit in these rooms, because they know there's something not right with what they believe. And they're just waiting for like something more solid. So far, the arguments they've been given, they're not exactly happy with. But just because the argument, I want to remind the room, just because the argument hasn't been made to your satisfaction is not a reason to believe a different argument that has been made that also doesn't meet your satisfaction, hence why you're in this room waiting for another one.
Yeah, dude, it's honestly most of the stuff that we deal with is like more FE related, right? This is just purely against the heliocentric model. Like, it's not FE at all. It's like it's like on heliocentrism. And so we don't have that many arguments like directly about heliocentrism outside of like interferometry measurements and stuff like that, which are still good, but like most people don't understand those because it kind of requires like physics and visualization. I mean, this is just pure like distance and dynamics in a heliocentric world. So either the distances are wrong or the dynamics are wrong or both, right? Like, that's the only thing that would be able to explain this. Because it certainly isn't explainable within what they say now.
Oh, yeah, dude. The minute you came in and started explaining it a second time, all the guys that were, after you left that were like speaking up, they all left already, dude. Because I steel manned your argument and just put it way simpler for them. And they were just like, there's no way that's what he's saying. You know what I mean? Because it is simple. It's a simple concept to understand. And if it is the case that heliocentrism is true and the speed of light is this, then this is what we should observe. We don't observe that. Therefore, you figure out the rest.
That's a good syllogism. Syllogism. Anyone
Yeah.
disagree?
If not P, then therefore not Q, or what is that? A Tollens or Ponens or something?
That was
What's the name of
Modus
that one?
Tollens. Yeah, that was Modus Tollens.
I mean, I dropped this in like a different Discord, and they were just in there arguing, like, "Oh, and this guy thinks that we don't know what C is. If you realize if C was wrong, like science wouldn't work." I'm like, dude, I never made that claim. And it was like spend 30 minutes going back and forth for them arguing with me about what my claim is. It's so asinine. Like it's so tiring dealing with people who are like incapable of like basic comprehension skills.
I think the speed of light has to be wrong for science to work because in order to have a thought, I'm going to suggest it happens faster than the speed of light. And that's what's needed in science.
Well, actually, that's a separate thing. There is evidence that certain information streams appear to propagate faster than C, such as human brainwaves. Like there's evidence suggesting that human thoughts, like the conscience, exists outside of the brain. Because you can do like MRI imaging of brains and like see people's like reactions to things, like with respect to like the speed at which like a connection happens across the brain, or the speed at which like those connections happen at different points in the brain. And it's like there's a certain amount of there's like a finite time window where it should take like the stimulus received acting at like the front left of the brain to get to the back right of the brain, but yet it appears to happen like instantaneously. Right, like both sections of the brain light up at the same time, type stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a great time for science still. Lots of discoveries or maybe even corrections that have to be made. Interestingly enough, we can even use our imagination to see light traveling. Like you could just maybe close your eyes, envision the sun on one side of your imagination and the earth on the other, if you're going to entertain the globe. And you can actually see the light beam travel uh, at the speed of light to earth, which takes 8 minutes. So even our brain can even understand perhaps the constant, or sorry, the speed of light on large scales and see that we can even comprehend it. The imagination is pretty amazing. But yeah, maybe it's not the fastest. Oh, it might be close to the fastest, but maybe the
You know
value
what,
isn't.
Eden,
Go
you
ahead.
know why we call it an imagination?
No, why?
Because you're an image bearer of the God.
Oh wow! Thank you. That's good. That's interesting.
Dude,
That makes sense.
the speed of light is just a characteristic wave speed of the ether medium that pervades the universe, by which of which all matter and energy subsists. However, that's not to say that this characteristic transverse wave speed can't be exceeded by other forms of propagation within the medium, such as longitudinal propagation. We know that within the near field regime, near field being like the wavelength of the propagation component being much less than the separation distance that it travels. So, like, if the separation distance is like, a meter, something's a meter apart, but the wavelength is like 100-meter wavelength, then the separation distance is much less than the wavelength, right? So if the separation distance is much less than the wavelength, you're in what's called the near field regime, and in the near field regime, like speeds are near instantaneous. They're like much faster than we were capable of measuring. They far exceed c.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, this is why capacitors charge effectively instantaneously. Like there's no when you do the mathematics for like a circuit, if you get really in depth on like the nitty-gritty level, there's like a tau value, right? And that tau value will tell you like charging and discharging cycle rates and stuff like that. Like it's like a coefficient that describes like the timing of those things. But in terms of like as soon as the circuit flips on, how long it takes for energy to like cross between two plates, that segment where the plates like where the energy crosses from one plate to the next, that segment right there, you cannot measure any perceivable time delay between the plates of the capacitor. Even if you're able to measure a time delay between like one end of the circuit and the other, you can't measure a time delay between the plates.
Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure we have ramp up currents and ramp up start times that we can actually measure for inductors and capacitors.
You guys know how many transistors are in your cell phone right now?
No, I don't. Hit me, hit me, Jeremy.
Bro, it's probably 20 billion. It's obviously not the same for every cell phone, but if you have a modern smartphone, you're probably around 20 billion.
Yeah.
America invented those transistor thingies.
You gotta like those flat processors. Are they ever gonna make a sphere processor for the Globers? It just doesn't work. You need something flat for the connections.